Hey friend, please subscribe. 1 second for you. Big deal for me.
I pulled up to my parents' house at 6:30 sharp, like we agreed. The sun wasn't even fully up yet, still dark enough that the porch light cut across the lawn like a spotlight. I left the engine running and got out to stretch. I'd barely slept the night before, too wired thinking about this damn trip. 6 nights in Bora Bora, oceanfront villa, snorkeling, massages, private dinners. It was supposed to be a gift, my treat for everything they'd done for me growing up. Or at least, that was the idea. I just popped the trunk when the front door swung open. My mom came out, wheeling her blue suitcase down the steps like she was on the set of some travel commercial. Her lipstick was fresh, gold hoop earrings on, that smug little half smile that always meant trouble. Then I saw him, Connor, my sister's husband, dragging his own oversized duffel behind him, like this was completely normal. I blinked. The hell is this? My mom didn't even slow down. Connor's coming instead of you. I stared at her. Excuse me? She waved a hand like I was overreacting. You work too much anyway. You can always go another time. He needs the break. Connor gave me this lazy, smug grin like we were in on some private joke together. Appreciate it, man. Seriously. I've been fried lately. I looked at my dad, who had just come out with his little carry-on. He wouldn't even meet my eyes, just kept adjusting the straps on his bag like that was the most important thing in the world. Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice level. This was my idea, my booking, my money. I planned this for the 3 of us. She shrugged. And we're still going. You're the one who said we should relax and enjoy ourselves. Well, Connor needs that more than you right now. Bullsh. I caught myself. Unbelievable. Logan, she said in that syrupy, fake sweet voice she always used when she was about to screw someone over. Don't be dramatic. You'll get over it. This isn't about you. That was her favorite line. This isn't about you. Quick note. Before listening, share in the comments which city or country you're watching from. And let's continue. Dad gave a weak cough and mumbled, "We appreciate you driving." I didn't answer. Just walked around to the back of the car, popped the trunk, and started loading the bags. My hands moved on autopilot, but my brain was buzzing. Connor slapped me on the shoulder. You're a real one, bro. Can't wait to hit the water. I didn't say a word. Didn't trust myself to. I slammed the trunk shut harder than I meant to and got back behind the wheel. I should have thrown his bags in the street. I should have peeled out and left them all standing there. But I didn't. Instead, I looked straight ahead and said flatly, "Let's go." They made their choice. We pulled out of the driveway just after 7. The sky had turned from dark blue to that weird orange-pink that makes everything feel fake for a second, like the world's paused between sleep and waking up. I stayed locked on the road ahead, fingers gripping the wheel tight, jaw clenched so hard my molars hurt. The car was dead silent for about 3 minutes. Then Connor cracked open a protein bar, chewed with his mouth open, and said, "So is the water super clear there? I heard you can see like 30 feet down. That true?" No one answered him. He didn't care. He just kept going. Man, I can't wait to try that seafood. I saw this YouTube video. They serve lobster right on the damn beach, like you're sitting with your feet in the sand and they bring it out on a banana leaf or something. That's wild, right? I didn't blink. Just kept driving down the 210 toward the 110, like I wasn't even hearing him. My hands stayed clamped on the wheel, the muscles in my forearms tight. I kept telling myself, don't give them the satisfaction. Don't snap. Don't curse. Just get through this. My mom leaned over and touched his arm. Make sure you take pictures, okay? Especially at the spa. I heard they use real black pearl oil. Connor grinned. Hell yeah. I'll send one to Kenzie too. She'll lose her mind. You think they'll let me bring a bottle back? Mom laughed, this fake, breathy thing, and said, if you don't pack like a child, maybe. It was like I was invisible. I could have been the damn Lyft driver. After another 10 minutes of Connor listing all the must-try dishes he'd Googled the night before, my dad finally cleared his throat and mumbled, "We, appreciate you driving, Logan?" I didn't say anything. Connor leaned forward from the back seat, hand on the headrest behind mine. "You're not mad, right? I mean, this means a lot to me, man. Like, I needed this." I let that hang for a second. Then I forced a smile, kept my eyes straight ahead, and said, "Sure. Have a blast." He sat back like that was all the permission he needed. The rest of the ride was just noise. Connor talked about how his boss had been riding his ass, and how a break would help him reset. Mom chimed in about needing a massage the second they landed. Dad mostly stared out the window like a hostage. I tuned them out. Just focused on the freeway signs, counting the exits like they were milestones toward getting rid of them. We hit a bit of traffic near downtown. Connor started complaining about LA drivers like he didn't live in Riverside. My mom launched into a story about a TSA agent who once tried to confiscate her hairspray. Neither of them seemed to notice I hadn't said a single thing in 30 miles. By the time we got to LAX, the sun was high and hot and reflecting off every windshield like it was trying to blind me. I pulled up to the curb at Departures, threw it in park, and got out to unload. Connor's bag was heavier than it looked. I dropped it on the sidewalk harder than I needed to. Mom popped out of the car and stretched like she'd just finished a damn spa day. Ah, finally. That drive was brutal. I didn't respond, just yanked their other bags out and lined them up like I worked for the airport. Dad adjusted his hat and mumbled, "Thanks, son." I looked at him. He still couldn't meet my eyes. Then Mom turned to me with that smug, rehearsed look. The same one she used when she was about to drop some manipulative line wrapped in fake concern. "You're doing the right thing," she said, pulling me into a quick, stiff hug. "It's good of you to step back." I didn't hug her back, didn't say a word, just nodded once and stepped away. Connor tossed his bag strap over his shoulder. "Appreciate you, man. I'll send you some pics." He winked like we were still buddies. I just looked at him. They grabbed their bags and started walking toward the terminal. None of them turned around. Not once. I stood there for a minute, watching them blend into the crowd. Just 3 more travelers headed off to paradise, laughing like they hadn't just tossed me aside. Then I got back in the car, pulled away from the curb, and hit the gas a little harder than I needed to. They were out of sight before I hit the second terminal. Good. I didn't go anywhere after leaving the airport. Just drove straight home, pulled into the driveway, and sat in my car with the engine off and both hands on the wheel. My pulse hadn't dropped since I got on the freeway. I could still hear Connor's smug, "Appreciate you, man," bouncing around in my skull like a bat in a closet. The house was dark and quiet, just like I'd left it. No texts from anyone yet, which didn't surprise me. They were still mid-flight. I walked straight to the kitchen, cracked open a bottle of water, and downed it in one go. Then I grabbed a beer and sat down at the kitchen table, dragging my laptop across the counter by the corner like it had personally wronged me. I opened the travel folder. It was all still there. The spreadsheet with the itinerary, confirmation emails, reservation codes, spa packages, boat rentals, room upgrades. I'd spent 3 damn months piecing it all together. My card, my time, my vacation days. I didn't even like beaches that much. This was for them. My fingers hovered over the trackpad for a second. Then I clicked. Hotel first. Non-refundable deposit. My ass. I'd bought the premium cancellation package, just in case. Click. Canceled. Refund processing. Next was the lagoon tour, the one with the glass kayaks and drone videos they send you afterward. Canceled. Refund confirmation. Restaurant reservations. All of them gone, one by one. Sunset dinner on the pier. Gone. Breakfast package at the private villa. Gone. The overpriced couples massage I'd booked for Mom and Dad. Canceled without hesitation. Each new email that popped up, "Your cancellation has been confirmed," felt like a lung inflating in my chest, like I was finally breathing real air for the first time that day. I wasn't just cutting them off from a trip. I was yanking back the piece of myself they thought they could take and hand off to someone else, like it was a damn party favor. By the time I shut the laptop, the kitchen was littered with empty cans, and the refund emails were stacked up like receipts from a night out I didn't regret. Not even a little. Their flight landed a couple hours later. I didn't need to check, I knew the time. I also knew the exact moment they realized what I'd done, because my phone started buzzing like it was about to explode. Mom. Logan, where is the hotel info? Dad. Call us. Something's wrong. Connor. Dude, what the hell? We're standing here and there's no reservation. Mom again. Did you forget something or did you do something? Dad. You need to call now. This isn't funny. Connor. Are you serious right now? I tossed the phone on the couch face down, grabbed another beer from the fridge, and took it out to the back porch. The night was hot, thick with that late summer stillness, and the only light was the pale glow from the neighbor's porch and the reflection off my own sliding door. I sat down in the old lawn chair that leaned too far back and stared up at nothing, just me and the crickets, and the fizz of cheap beer, and a mountain of pissed-off energy that I had nowhere to dump. It should have felt good, finally putting my foot down, but instead it felt like I was vibrating, like all the years of being the one who swallowed it, smoothed it over, made it work. They were all banging around inside me, clawing to get out now that I wasn't playing along anymore. I was halfway through the beer when the knock came. Not loud, just a few quick raps on the front door, enough to be polite but not friendly. I grabbed the bat from behind the coat rack, yeah, I'm that guy, and cracked the door an inch. Then I stopped. It was Haley. I hadn't seen her since maybe senior year. She looked mostly the same, just a little older around the eyes. Brown hair pulled into a low bun. Oversized hoodie. No makeup. She was holding a paper coffee tray with 2 drinks. She smiled, kind of awkward, and said, "Hey, I'm not here to cause drama. Just figured you might need someone who isn't screaming at you." I opened the door all the way and stood there, still holding the bat like an idiot. She looked at it and raised an eyebrow. Expecting zombies? I cracked the first real smile I'd had all day and set the bat down. Just the emotional kind. She held out one of the cups. "It's cold brew. I didn't know if you still drank it black." I took it and nodded. "I do. Thanks." We sat out on the porch. She curled her legs under her and sipped slowly like we did this every Thursday. I didn't ask how she knew. Figured I didn't need to. Small town, bigger mouths. My mom's drama didn't just stay in the family. It traveled fast. Always had. If Haley was here, it meant half the damn town probably already knew I'd nuked a Bora Bora vacation out of sheer spite. Good. She finally said, "My cousin Melissa's friends with your mom. She called me earlier, laughing her ass off, said your mom's on the warpath and stranded at a terminal." I leaned back in the chair, head against the siding. She deserved it. Haley nodded. "No argument from me. I just wanted to say, I get it. That's all. You're not crazy. They are." The way she said it, like it wasn't up for debate, made something loosen in my chest. "I didn't even tell them," I said. Didn't text, didn't warn, just canceled everything. She took another sip. Good. I mean, maybe I should have given them a heads up. But the second I saw Connor with a bag, I cut myself off. My voice had gone tight. Haley didn't push, just looked out into the yard like she had all the time in the world. After a second, I asked, "You always bring caffeine to people in crisis?" She smirked. "Only the ones who deserve it." We sat in silence for a while. It wasn't awkward, just quiet. She stretched her legs out and glanced over at me. "Let me guess. Your mom spun it like you threw a tantrum and ruined their vacation for no reason." "Pretty much. That tracks. She did the same thing when she caught me smoking behind the gym in 9th grade. Made it sound like I was leading a cartel." That pulled a laugh out of me. Sharp, short, but real. Haley stood up, brushed off her hoodie. "All right. I've done my good deed. Don't let them twist this, okay? You stood up for yourself. That matters. I didn't say anything. Just watched her walk back to her car, headlights slicing across my overgrown lawn as she pulled away. Inside, I tossed the beer and her empty cup in the trash, locked the door, and stood there for a second in the middle of the living room, staring at my phone still face down on the couch. I didn't pick it up. That night, for the first time in weeks, I actually slept. The next morning, I found Haley sitting on the porch again. Same hoodie, same calm energy, like she hadn't just walked into the middle of a family landmine the night before. She had 2 coffees in that cardboard tray again, like she already knew I hadn't slept long enough or made any myself. I opened the door, stepped out barefoot, and sat down beside her without a word. She handed me the coffee and tucked her legs up under her like she always had in high school, like chairs weren't made for sitting normal. The wood was warm from the sun already, the kind of heat that makes everything feel slower than it is. We didn't say anything at first, just drank. I finally broke the silence. You ever feel like you're the guy they call after the house burns down? Like, not the one they want, just the one who shows up with duct tape and a shovel. Haley gave me this slow nod, like she didn't just understand it, like she'd lived it. I kept going. I didn't want to, but it started coming out, and I couldn't stop. I was the backup kid, Haley. My sister was the golden one, cheer captain, married young, all that suburban princess crap. I was the solid one. I fixed things, took care of bills when they fell behind, paid for their AC repair last year, even booked this damn trip with my own vacation time. Thought maybe I'd get, I don't know, something back for once. Her eyes stayed on me the whole time. No judgment, no polite nods, just to fill space. Just real listening. The kind you don't realize you needed until you're neck deep in it. They didn't even blink, I said. Just swapped me out like a defective part. Handed my seat to Connor like I was never meant to go in the first place. That part hit harder saying it out loud. I took a long drink to give myself something to do. She set her cup on the rail and leaned back on her hands. I dated Connor for like 6 months, freshman year. That got my attention. I turned and stared. Seriously? She laughed, dry and low. Yeah. Didn't tell people back then. He was different around others. Charmer. But one-on-one? He was always looking for shortcuts. Always thought he was too smart to have to try. Flirted with other girls and played the victim when you called him out. Like you were the crazy one for expecting anything. That sounded about right. I let out a sharp breath through my nose. Man, I thought maybe it was just me. Thought maybe I'd finally lost it. Haley looked over. Number you were just the only one who finally said no. I laughed. For the first time in days, I actually laughed. Not some tight, polite chuckle, but a real, honest laugh that came from the gut. Haley smiled too, soft and tired, but it was there. I shook my head. She really said, "You're doing the right thing." Like stepping aside for Connor was some kind of noble sacrifice. She manipulates people by making them feel guilty for having boundaries, Haley said flatly. I've seen her do it since we were kids. It's her thing. That and acting like everything's fine while she's twisting the knife. I looked out at the lawn. The sprinklers had come on late, so the grass was still wet and shining in the sunlight. I took another sip, let it burn down slowly. They act like I owed it to them, like my time and money don't belong to me. That's because they got used to taking without asking, she said. You trained them, and now you're untraining them. That doesn't go quietly. I watched a spider spin a strand between the porch rail and the mailbox post. Tiny, methodical, not in any rush. I keep wondering if I went too far, I said. Nope. Didn't even warn them. Still nope. I laughed again, but it was sharper this time. Connor's probably telling everyone I'm unstable. Let him, she said. You burned the bridge. Let the smoke speak for itself. I turned toward her. Why are you really here, Haley? She didn't look away. Because I've been there. Because I've been made to feel like an afterthought. And because most people, when they finally stand up for themselves, get told they're overreacting. I figured maybe you needed someone who'd say you're not. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded and looked down at the cup in my hands. The condensation had soaked through the cardboard, leaving a ring on my jeans. Didn't care. She stood up a few minutes later, stretched, and glanced down at me before walking toward the steps. "Don't let them twist this," she said. "You stood up for yourself. That matters." Then she was gone. The porch was quiet again, but not empty. Her words didn't float away like the rest of the world's noise. They sat, solid, heavy in a way that felt good, like the kind of weight that holds you steady when the wind picks up. That night, I slept with the window open and my phone on silent. No dreams, no tossing. Just quiet, real sleep. And in the morning, I didn't wake up angry. The next morning, I rolled over, grabbed my phone off the nightstand, and held it face up for a few seconds before turning it on. I already knew what was waiting. Still, part of me hoped maybe the silence had stuck. No such luck. The notifications lit up instantly. 3 voicemails, a handful of texts, and 1 missed FaceTime call from Mom at 3:40 in the morning. First voicemail was Connor. Of course. His voice came through sharp and cocky, like he was mid-argument, but already sure he'd won. "Logan, man, I don't even know what to say. That was some petty-ass high school move. You embarrassed everyone, made a scene from 5,000 miles away, and for what? To prove a point? Grow up." Click. Second was Mom. I braced myself before pressing play. "You humiliated us. You think it's funny that we were turned away like criminals? They treated us like we were trying to scam our way in. I had to pay out of pocket for a last-minute room, and Connor got sick from the food. This is not what a son does. Shame on you." Click. The third was Dad. His voice was softer. Not angry, just tired. "This isn't you, Logan. You've always been better than this. You don't hold grudges. I know you're upset, but come on. You made your mother cry." That last line made me snort. She could cry on command if it meant keeping control of the narrative. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then locked it and set it face down on the counter. No response. Not today. I walked into the garage, grabbed the can of WD-40 off the shelf, and went straight to the side door that had been squeaking since February. I sprayed the hinges, opened and shut it 6 times, wiped it down, and finally, silence. After that, I went back in, started laundry, and cleaned out the old shed behind the house, tossing half the junk I'd been pretending I'd someday use. Broken hoses, cracked storage bins, a lawn chair with one leg taped together. By noon, I was covered in dust, sweat, and grass clippings, but I hadn't looked at my phone once. The knock came around 2:30. I wiped my hands on a rag and opened the back door. Haley was standing there with a bag from that Thai place off Main, the one with the tiny parking lot and the best pad CU in town. She held it up like it was some peace offering. "You eat yet?" I stepped aside and motioned her in. "You keep showing up like a stray cat." She smiled. "You keep answering the door." We sat at the patio table under the tree, using mismatched lawn chairs and an upside-down crate as a footrest. The air was heavy with late summer heat, but there was just enough shade to make it tolerable. I cracked a cold soda, handed her one, and we ate straight from the containers. No plates, no small talk. She talked about work, how she just started at the hospital as a surgical tech, how her boss kept calling her kid, even though she was 30. She said being back in this town was like walking through a time loop. Same streets, same stores, same people treating her like she never left. "I saw Mrs. Whitaker at the grocery store yesterday," she said, poking at her noodles. "She asked if I was still planning to go to nursing school someday. I was like, lady, I pay taxes and vote now. Let it go." I laughed. "People here don't want you to grow. They just want you to stay recognizable." She raised her cup to that like it was a toast. Exactly. We didn't talk about my family. She didn't ask. I didn't offer. And that, honestly, made it easier. It was the first conversation I'd had in 2 days that wasn't about justifying myself. No guilt trips, no expectations. Just two people eating good food in a backyard that still smelled faintly like gasoline from the mower I'd run earlier. When she left, she just waved and said, "See you around." No hug, no emotional wrap-up, just easy. That night, I stared at the ceiling fan spinning slow and uneven. The house felt heavy again, like all the words I'd ignored had soaked into the walls. I reached for my phone and scrolled through the voicemails again. Not to listen, just to remind myself they were still there. Then I hit call on Dad's name. He picked up after the second ring. "Logan." "Yeah, it's me." There was a pause. Not long, but just enough to feel loaded. "I'm glad you called," he said. "Your mother's been—" I cut him off. "Let's skip the guilt part. I just want to say what I have to say." He sighed. "Okay. I didn't do this to be cruel. I did it because I'm done being the one who makes things easier for everybody else. They replaced me like I was a seat filler. So yeah, I canceled everything. I don't feel bad about it." There was another pause. I could hear him breathing through his nose, slow and steady. "I just think you're being extreme. And I think you're still more worried about her being embarrassed than me being disrespected." His voice dropped lower. It wasn't personal. It was to me. He didn't argue, just stayed quiet. "I didn't make this choice for drama," I said. "I made it because I finally hit a wall. You all made your call. I made mine." I waited. He didn't answer. I let the silence stretch for a few more seconds, then said, "All right, that's it." He said my name once, soft and worn out, like he wanted to say more. I hung up. Then I turned off the ringer, tossed the phone on the couch again, and went back outside. The shed was cleaner than it had been in years. I sat in the doorway, cracked another soda, and let the last of the daylight spill across the yard. I didn't feel proud, but I didn't feel sorry either. I got there 10 minutes early. Parked across the street from my parents' house with a coffee in one hand and the windows down, letting the morning heat bleed into the truck. The AC still worked, but I didn't bother turning it on. I wanted to feel uncomfortable. I wanted to be sharp. Their front lawn looked dry and patchy, like nobody had touched it the entire week. Figures. The house was dark, shutters closed. No sign of life except for the squirrel tearing through the bird feeder on the porch. I just sat there, waiting, sipping, watching the empty driveway. Then the taxi pulled up. Big yellow van, brakes squealing as it rolled to a stop. The door slid open, and out came Connor first. Sweat-stained, red-faced, and pissed. He yanked 2 bags out with zero finesse, one of them tipping and landing hard on the driveway. Then came my mom, sunglasses on, scarf tied around her neck like some celebrity crawling home from rehab. And last was my dad, moving slow, carrying his own bag like it weighed more than it did. I didn't get out of the truck. I just watched. Connor spotted me first. His eyes locked on mine, and his face twisted like he'd just bitten into something sour. He didn't say anything, just stood there with his hands on his hips, breathing heavy. Mom looked over next, took her sunglasses off, narrowed her eyes, and crossed the lawn like she had a point to prove. "You have no idea what we went through," she snapped before she even reached the sidewalk. "Do you know what it's like getting denied check-in in a foreign country? It was humiliating. People stared. I leaned out the window a little and sipped my coffee. You got denied because there was no reservation, because I canceled it." She threw her arms up. "We had to scramble for a hotel. We lost the ocean view. Everything was chaos." "Must have been tough," I said, being treated like an afterthought. Connor chimed in from behind her, dragging another bag up the walkway. "You could have just let it go, man. We were already there. You didn't have to ruin the trip." I stepped out of the truck then, slow, calm, letting my boots hit the pavement hard. "You all left me behind. So yeah, I let the perks go too." Dad finally walked up, wiping sweat off his forehead. "You should have just canceled your part, not the whole thing. That would have been fair." "Fair?" I repeated, laughing once. "Why the hell would I pay for a trip I wasn't even invited to?" He opened his mouth like he had something reasonable to say, then closed it again. Connor dropped the bags and crossed his arms. "You're being dramatic." I turned to face him. "You don't get to say a word, Connor." "You took my seat without blinking. You knew it wasn't for you, and you still went, like it was owed to you." "I didn't make the decision, man. Your mom said—" "Yeah, she said. That's her game. But you still packed your bags and climbed into the car like a spoiled little kid getting handed someone else's birthday present." He scoffed and looked away, but I wasn't done. I turned toward all of them. "You want to talk dramatic? Let's talk about the last 10 years, the calls when bills were late, the repairs I covered without a word, the Christmases I hosted, paid for, cleaned up after. You all came to me when you needed something, and I never once threw it back in your faces. But one damn trip, my trip, and suddenly I'm just removable." Mom stepped forward, arms crossed tight. "That is not what happened." "Yes, it is," I said, calm now. "You handed my spot to someone else and told me it wasn't about me. You made a choice. All I did was match it." Dad rubbed his forehead like this was giving him a migraine. "You've made your point, son. We get it." "No," I said. "I don't think you do." They all stood there in silence. No excuses, no apologies. Just blank stares like they were waiting for me to cool off and forget. I looked right at Mom. "You're lucky I didn't cancel the return flight, too." Her eyes widened. Not fear, just pure ego bruised. She opened her mouth, then snapped it shut when I stepped back toward the truck. "I don't owe any of you anything," I said. "Not my money, not my time. And definitely not another damn second of explaining why I'm finally done being second place." I got in, slammed the door, and didn't wait for a response. As I pulled away, I saw Connor kick one of the suitcases like it was the luggage's fault. I didn't look back again. I got home from their place with my hands shaking and a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't even pace the room. I just walked inside, looked around my living room, and saw everything for what it was. Leftovers. The couch was the same one my parents gave me when I moved out 10 years ago. The armrest still had the faint imprint of my dad's elbow from when he used to fall asleep watching late-night baseball. The coffee table wobbled if you leaned too hard on it. The rug underneath had a wine stain from a Christmas party they made me host because their place was too cramped. I grabbed the keys, drove straight to a furniture store and bought a new damn couch. Gray, clean lines, firm cushions. No one else's memory embedded into it. The guy tried to upsell me on a matching love seat. I said no. I wasn't building a guest room for ghosts. By the end of the day, the hand-me-down couch was on the curb. The rug got rolled up and tossed. I rearranged everything. Flipped the layout, moved the TV, pulled my old photos out of storage and hung them. Not family shots, but ones I'd taken on road trips. Arizona deserts, a rusted gas station sign off Route 66, a cracked window reflecting sunrise in Montana. I didn't ask permission. I didn't run it by anyone. It was my space now. Fully mine. Most evenings I took walks after dinner, just around the neighborhood. Clear my head. Sometimes Haley would join. She didn't make a big thing of it. Just texted, "Walking?" And I'd reply with a thumbs up. We talked about dumb stuff, which band actually deserved their Grammys, who had the worst fashion in high school, whether that one substitute teacher really got fired for stealing headphones. She was easy to be around. I didn't have to explain myself or dodge landmines. One night we walked down past the park and sat on the swings like we were 17 again. I pulled out my phone and showed her some of the photos I'd taken over the years. Not for anyone, just ones I liked. She flipped through them, slowly, like they meant something. "You've got an eye," she said. "These are actually good." I shrugged. "It's just a hobby." "No, it's not," she said. "Stop brushing yourself off like you're some guy who just fell into this. You see things people miss. That's something." Her words sat with me all the way home. They weren't praise, just fact. But it hit harder than any compliment I'd gotten from my family in years. A couple nights later, I sat down at my desk and opened the old Bora Bora spreadsheet. Everything was still there. The canceled bookings, the reservation numbers crossed out in red, The notes I'd written in the margins like it was some group project that only I had taken seriously. I stared at it for a while. Couldn't bring myself to delete it. Instead, I opened a new tab and typed, "Solo travel ideas for October." The list popped up fast. Thailand, Croatia, Costa Rica, Iceland. I clicked through one link after another, opening flight options, hotel packages, solo tour groups. It didn't feel like running. It felt like claiming something. An hour later, I booked 2 weeks in Thailand. No group, no family, no Connor tagging along like a leech. Just me, my itinerary, my wallet, my damn rules. I shut the laptop and leaned back in the chair. The room was quiet, but not empty. The air felt different, not lighter exactly, just cleaner. This trip wasn't revenge, it was a reset, and no one else had a say in it. 12 hours in the air, 2 layovers, 1 missed connection in Seoul. And still, the second I stepped off the plane in Phuket, I knew I'd made the right call. The air hit me like a wall, thick, hot, and full of salt. Not the suffocating kind of heat you complain about back home, but something deeper, heavier, like the air itself had weight. My shirt stuck to my back before I even cleared immigration. I didn't care. The airport was chaos. Tourists in bucket hats, cab drivers waving signs, humidity fogging up the windows. I didn't rush. I moved slow. No one was waiting. No one expected anything. That was the whole point. At the hotel, the clerk greeted me with cold juice and a towel for my face. I tipped him too much and didn't even think about it. The room had a view of the water, bright teal stretching forever, dotted with long-tail boats that looked like toys. I dropped my bags, kicked off my shoes, and opened the sliding door. Just stood there barefoot, listening to waves I didn't have to share with anybody. I didn't think about Connor, or my mom, or my dad. Not once. The days rolled together in the best way. I ate when I wanted, napped when I felt like it, wandered the streets with no schedule. One afternoon, I stumbled on a night market tucked behind an alley. No tourists, just locals. I bought spicy chicken skewers for $1 and fresh mango with sticky rice that nearly made me cry. The guy behind the cart asked where I was from. I told him, California, and he grinned like we'd known each other for years. I didn't check my phone much. I texted Haley when I landed, just a quick "made it. It's wild here." And she'd sent back a thumbs up and a plain emoji. That was it. No over-explaining. No drama. By the 5th night, I stopped counting what time it was back home. That evening, I picked up a cheap bottle of beer from the 7-Eleven near the beach and walked down to the shore barefoot. The sky was already turning that deep pink orange, like it had been dipped in watercolor. I found a spot in the sand away from the families and couples and dropped down hard, legs stretched out, back resting against my bag. For the first time since college, I pulled out a journal. Not some fancy leather-bound one, just a spiral notebook I grabbed at a market near the pier. I cracked it open, flipped past the first blank page, and started writing without thinking. No goals, no plan, just quiet. I wrote a list, things I actually wanted to do. Climb a mountain, eat something I can't pronounce, learn to ride a scooter, sleep on a boat, photograph a sunrise from somewhere high. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. No checkboxes to post online. Just real things. For once, I looked up from the page and saw 3 fishermen dragging nets in shallow water. Their shadows stretched long behind them, framed by the last strip of light slipping below the horizon. I grabbed my phone, took a photo. No filter, no framing tricks, just instinct. The shot came out better than I expected. I posted it to my story with no caption. About a minute later, Haley messaged, "That one's really damn good." I stared at the message for a second. Then I smiled, closed the app, and set the phone down beside me. The tide crept closer, soft waves tapping at my toes. I didn't move. The sun sank completely, and for once I didn't feel behind on anything. The day after I got back, the first message came in. Mom, no long paragraph, no rant, just, hope your trip was nice. Let's talk soon? I stared at the notification for a second, then locked my phone and slid it face down on the counter. I didn't open it, didn't reply. Just let it sit there like a wet towel someone else left for me to deal with. I wasn't ready. Maybe I'd never be. The house was clean. The air still carried the faint scent of lemongrass from the incense in the hotel lobby back in Phuket. My laundry was already done, bags unpacked, fridge restocked. The trip had burned through something inside me, not in a bad way, more like it had scorched off everything I didn't need. A week passed. She called. This time, I let it ring out and go to voicemail. But after a couple minutes, I gave in and played it. Her voice was soft, deliberate, practiced. Hi, honey. I just wanted to say we know we didn't handle things the right way. It was a mess. We're not proud of how it went. I want to talk. We miss you. She paused like she was waiting for me to answer even though it was a recording. I'm not making excuses, just saying we got it wrong. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear, heart steady. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel mad. Just tired of being the one who had to carry the weight and hand it back cleaned up. Later that evening, I called her. Not out of guilt, just because I'd made a decision. If we were going to talk, it was going to be real. She picked up fast. Logan? Yeah. Another pause. I hoped. Don't make this harder than it is, Mom. I'm not calling to make peace. I'm calling to be clear. She stayed quiet, but I could hear her breathing. You didn't just hurt me, I said. You made me feel disposable, like I was just an option on a list. That wasn't the intention. I don't care what the intention was. You and Dad let Connor take my place. You treated me like furniture you could rearrange. She let out a slow breath. We got caught up in it. We thought it would smooth things over between your sister and him. We didn't see... No, you didn't see me. Silence again, this one longer. I want to fix it, she said eventually. We both do. I know it'll take time. I nodded, even though she couldn't see. Yeah, it will. Change doesn't come in a week in a voicemail. You're right. I'm not interested in playing pretend anymore, I told her. If we talk, it has to be real. No guilt, no gaslighting. And if I don't answer your calls, it's not an invitation to send Dad after me. Okay, she said, barely above a whisper. I'm not shutting the door, I added. But I'm not holding it open either. We ended it there. No I love yous. No promises. Just a click, and the kind of silence that didn't feel awkward for once. Connor never reached out. That was good. If he had, I'd have blocked his number before he finished the first sentence. 3 nights later, Haley texted, Dinner? Nothing fancy, just food. I wrote back, I'll bring wine. Her place was small, older, but felt lived in a way mine hadn't for years. Smelled like garlic and rosemary and that candle everyone buys but never lights. She had it burning anyway, right on the kitchen windowsill. Her dog, Moose, a lopsided Beagle Lab mix, wouldn't stop licking my leg from the second I walked in the door. I tried to shoo him off, but he just flopped against me like I was his favorite chew toy. Haley laughed, full-throated and honest. He only does that to people he likes, or people who smell like takeout. Could be both, I said, setting the wine on the table. I had street noodles for lunch. We ate in the living room, plates balanced on our knees, talking about everything and nothing. She asked how the trip was. I told her it was the first time I ever felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. It shows, she said. You look lighter. It's not a diet, I joked. She smiled, then looked at me for a second longer than usual. It wasn't a date. There weren't candles or music or any of that crap. But it also wasn't not a date. And sitting there, legs outstretched, Moose snoring between us, I realized something I hadn't felt in years. It was okay to want peace. Not the fake kind my family handed out like leftovers, but the real kind. The kind that comes from drawing a line and finally meaning it. 6 months later, I was standing on the edge of a trail in northern Utah, red rock behind me, snow-capped peaks in the distance, and a camera in my hand. Not a phone, not a loaner. A real camera. Used, scratched, but mine. Bought it with my own damn money from the side gigs I picked up doing photo work for a few small businesses and one wedding that nearly gave me a migraine. But it paid, and it built something. The photos weren't just for fun anymore. They were for something. For me. Some weekends I drove 3 hours just to catch the light right. Sent a couple shots to a print shop that sold art to lobbies and offices. One of them sold. Not big money. But enough to make it real. I'd already hit Oregon and Utah solo since Thailand. Next spring, I was eyeing Norway. Something about the cold felt right. Clean. I didn't tell anyone, not even Haley. I just kept reading articles and looking at hostels and writing numbers down in the margins of receipts. My folks called now and then. Usually Dad, just to check in. It was civil, surface level, weather talk, a birthday reminder here, a small apology there. I kept it short. No fights, but no pretending either. They knew where the line was now. I drew it with a damn carving knife and left it there. Most Saturdays, Haley and I hiked. Nothing Instagram-worthy, no matching boots or coordinated poses. Just us and Moose, who had a habit of tripping over his own ears and falling into creeks. Sometimes we'd grab breakfast after. Pancakes, strong coffee, silence that didn't need filling. It wasn't official, but it didn't have to be. What mattered was that she saw me, not the guy who fixed things, not the backup son, not the fallback plan, just me, with flaws, opinions, silence, and all. And the truth is, I'd stopped folding, stopped saying it's fine when it wasn't, stopped apologizing just to keep the peace that no one else worked to maintain. I didn't live for their comfort anymore. I lived for my own. The house didn't feel heavy like it used to. I'd filled the walls with prints I'd taken myself, swapped out the furniture that reminded me of them. The couch, the rugs, the mugs, all mine. Nothing borrowed, nothing guilt-tripped into keeping. When I sat down at night with a beer and some music playing low, I didn't feel like I was living in a storage unit full of favors I never asked for. I didn't wake up angry. I didn't go to bed spinning about what I should have said. I lived the days I chose, in the order I wanted, at the pace I set. And for the first time in a long damn while, I didn't feel like anyone's second choice, not even my own. Do you think Logan was right to cancel the trip? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.
YouTube picked this for you. Tap it. Let's see if they guessed right.